Even Yaroslav Askarov can't solve the Sharks shootout issues.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker at the Reef, also the co-host of Western Conference Tuesdays on the Locked On NHL channel. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, probably part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. And if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And today we're going to be discussing another shootout loss as the Sharks again come from behind late to tie things up, but still can't win a shootout. Askarov's debut, which was great after the first 11 seconds. Celebrity's continued growth, and dig into the numbers behind this game. So before we get to all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. All right, Askarov. The long-awaited San Jose Sharks debut for Yaroslav Askarov, the best goalie prospect the Sharks have probably ever had. Pretty safe to say ever have. After the first 11 seconds, it was great. And you feel bad because the first 11, like, that's the thing with Askarov. And you're going to have to, like, if this is the first time you watch Askarov, he is a high variance, little bit of a risk taker type of goalie, especially when it comes to moving the puck. And he will, one, continue to get better at it, and two, hopefully iron these things out. But you saw it literally his first touch of the game. He tries to make a pass and keep it going, and like kind of try to he tries to start the transition. It feels like, which for a Sharks team that needs all the help starting the transition it can get, you appreciate. But when things go awry, like you saw 11 seconds in, that's what can happen. So other than that moment, which he laughed about, and he, was like, the nice thing is he said everybody like kind of picked him up after that and stuff, and which is good to see, right? And especially a guy who's so highly touted, and we've seen what he's done with the Barracuda, and there's a reason why he was picked so high in the draft and why the Sharks gave up so many assets to get him. Like, he provided plenty of other great stuff tonight, right? And you saw some of those saves that he made, especially down low, and his ability to track the puck and get from one side. That athleticism for a guy that big, right, is to get from one side to the other. And you saw flashes of that tonight. And there will be, I'm sure there'll be some when the coaches sit down with him and look at the game tape, they'll probably be like, let's calm down a little bit with some of the puck stuff. Like, you have defensemen back there. Like, let's leave it for the defensemen. Let them do their jobs. And we don't need to kind of push as much, especially for a Sharks team that had no juice. And we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But you saw a lot of great plays and great saves from Askarov, and kind of kept the Sharks in this game. Especially it was a very sleepy game from both teams, to be honest, but in the shootout he made some excellent saves as well. And unfortunately, Sharks just cannot find a way to score in the shootout. But I think you got to feel really good about Askarov's debut in Teal and kind of what to expect from him, and especially in a game where the Sharks offense was brutal. The good thing is the Blues really didn't do much either in this game. It was very much both teams just kind of turning the puck over to each other constantly. But though, like, for Askarov, I actually don't mind that type of game for him. I'd rather him kind of like, especially that first game. You could tell, especially the first kind of a couple times he touched the puck, a little bit of nerves there. But he's settled in, and you saw him make some big time saves. And he's the thing you watching him is just how sure he is when he kind of catch it, like when he stops the puck. Like it's very like, it's not very like, it's weird to say for a flashy guy like Askarov because he's a very flashy guy, but like when it comes to the actual save part, he is very like boom technical. Like we're gonna catch it. I'm hunched over. There's nobody gonna like try to poke it out. Like he's very on point with that stuff. And I thought though you had to feel really good, and I really was impressed with his debut tonight. The second goal, like that's just like Jordan Kyrou just beating two guys, he kind of out muscling his two guys that he's playing against and getting his stick down. Like you just tip your hat to them. So on that play, but yeah, I think great debut. We'll see with Vitek Vanacek. Kind of, it's still kind of day to day right now. So we'll see if Askarov I think it'll be big if Askarov gets sent down tomorrow to go, and then because the Sharks are going to go home tonight, and then the Barracuda are probably going to fly out on Friday to go to Toronto. It'll be interesting. We'll know more then, I think, with where Askarov is. If he's in Toronto, which I kind of don't think he's going to be, we'll kind of know more on how close Vitek Vanacek is to returning. But I could also just see the Sharks just keeping, even if Vanacek is close to return, I could just see the Sharks just keeping Askarov home for the weekend because that's a lot of travel right there. So, but I think the other big takeaway, just the Sharks continue to just unable to generate any sort of offense, and another slow kind of sleepy start from them. And credit to them because this team continues to do it. They find a way to make things interesting late, and they tied the game again with 8 seconds left. Darren Stevens of Shark Stats, he had that. This is the 5th time the Sharks have a game-tying goal with the final 10 minutes in regulation, the most in the NHL, which is great. You don't want to live in a world where you have to keep coming back, and that's, again, as we kind of continue to go through this process of this rebuild and trying to find this team's identity, you want to be leading and kind of holding on to leads there, but it's still like it's one of those kind of baby steps of like knowing this team's never out of it, right? And even in yesterday's game against Dallas, right, they get it to 3-2, and then kind of the wheels fall off, and with 2 empty net goals. Even tonight, with like 10 minutes left in the third, they finally kind of get the offense into gear, and they're able to start generating stuff. And then when Askarov gets pulled with 3 minutes left, the Sharks were really, really able to create and generate offense, and were earn that game tying goal there by Alex Wennberg, who seems to have a knack for scoring. It feels like it's Wennberg or Granlund. One of those two guys is going to score the game tying goal here. And it is good to see that those veterans, especially a guy like Wennberg, who you went out of your way to acquire this offseason, continuing to pay dividends. And, you look at the score sheet, right? Both goals, Wennberg from Granlund from Celebrini. Not too bad, right? Because you're getting your veteran guys that you have, your leaders in Wennberg and Granlund, and you're getting Celebrini involved. And we're going to talk more about Celebrini here in a minute. But this team, though, they need to, the two big issues, or 2 issues of their many that they need to solve, is starting games on time, right? And you look back to Monday's game against Detroit, where they started that game, like they were really kind of pushing the pace to start the game. And that was one of the few games. And I know it took the Sharks going into overtime to win that game, but they felt like they were owning that game much more than what we've seen, instead of having to scrap back into it. And the second is you gotta find some guys who can score, but like it's in the shootout, like it's like you're putting out the guys you would expect, right? Celebrini, who's gotten really close to scoring. Granlund, who's, sneaky good at, I think, very underrated at shootouts. And, Macklin, we've seen be able to score in shootouts. Like they put out guys and they're just not getting any results here. So the Sharks, it feels like as soon as it goes to a shootout, like this game's over. The Sharks are just not like if they had. I think they've scored like 1 or 2 shootout goals all season long. It feels like there's no chance for them. So, which is weird because if you go back to training camp, they spent a lot of time, like after every drill, they basically did like a shootout thing where it was goalie versus, a shooter. If the shooter won, then the goalie's team had to skate. And then if the goalie won the thing, then the shooter's team had to skate. Like they spent a lot of time in preseason and training camp working on this, and they just haven't been able to see any results for it. So, continue to fire the shootout into the sun. So we'll talk about more about Macklin Celebrini and his continued growth. And you just see it like we'll talk about it, especially the end of the game, what he was doing at end of the game. So we'll talk about that here in just 1 second. If you want to get tickets to go to the tank, Sharks have a nice homestand coming up here. You need to check out Game Time. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They have curated deals to make it even easier to get the best price on great seats. Of course, you can see your view before you buy. Nothing worse than getting to an event and realizing that your seats aren't that great. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time Picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. That's LOCKEDONNHL. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. And of course, I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. For your second listen, go check out one of the other great shows here at the Locked On Network. Of course, you have Locked On Fantasy Hockey. So if your fantasy hockey team needs some love, need to know who to drop, who to target for the playoffs, who to target for trades, all that good stuff, they got you covered there. Or check out one of the other great shows here in the Bay Area, right? You got Locked On Niners, Locked On Warriors, Locked On A's, Locked On Giants. Plenty of great stuff here at Locked On, where, again, we cover your team every day. Macklin Celebrini, he was this close to doing it again. Hits the poster at the crossbar in overtime, but that's not the play I'm thinking about. And if you watch the game, you know exactly. Empty net situation. The Blues look like they have like an easy empty net, tap it in. Celebrini comes flying back on the back check, lays out, pokes the puck away. The Sharks are able to get the puck back and then eventually, of course, tie it up. And the way the kid grows and just everything he does. And one of the things that was really like, because I see who's out there when I paid and who gets what opportunities, right? And the Sharks, 6-on-5, you're down a goal. You have a face-off, a big face-off. And again, I'm not like a big face-off guy, right? I think most of the time, like face-offs, that stuff kind of evens out. But situational face-offs, like when you are down a goal with like less than 2 minutes left, you have your best versus their best. And Celebrini's the one out there taking draws for the Sharks. And not only taking, winning draws for the Sharks. Like you go back to the first game where he was like 1 for 9. And it's been a month, a little over a month, 5 weeks, and he missed 3 of those 5 weeks. And he's out there taking big draws and winning big draws and setting his team up to score the game-winning goal. Again, that defensive play, right? And you see a lot of those little defensive, like he's not gonna be out there just knocking dudes over and stuff like that's not his game. But like those little subtle plays of just like lifting the stick or poke here and kind of like even I saw it a bunch of times like where other guys are he's defending especially on the transition and he just knocks the puck away just enough to cause an offside slow like okay stop reset type of thing like stuff like that where and again like this kid's 18 years old and the way his brain just thinks about the game and is able to do this stuff at this age, right? You think about yourself at 18, if you're, an older listener, or if you're, like me, when I was 18, like I could barely like do laundry or anything like that. And the way this kid is just performing out there right now, it's mind-boggling just like how good he is, how quickly, and it's you rarely see him make the same mistake twice. Like I know I talk about all the time, but like how are you not talking about what he's doing all the time is just amazing. What he's able to do it so quickly at such an advanced level at such a young age, and that's why again. That's why he lost all those games last year is because of this. I feel like it's just crazy why like I knew he was good, but just seeing the little details in his game like that and like that play of him streaking back on the back check to save a goal, like lays out like it's his life depends on it. Saves a goal there and then keeps the game going. 2 assists for him tonight, like I said earlier, both of them on like both secondary assists, but again, like he's asked to do so much already for the Sharks. Like you see how important he is already, and that like there's a world where he doesn't get hurt, and the Sharks and he has like Celebrini's playing, the 12 games that he missed. And you just kind of wonder like where this team would be. Probably still pretty similar to where they're at right now, but they're not losing 9 games in a row to start the season if Celebrini's here. Like I can tell you that just how good he is. So also got a shout out here before we kind of dig into the numbers. Mikael Granlund, who not jokingly, might be the Sharks' best defenseman. Same thing, right? In overtime, he puts on the wheels, wins a one-on-one. Like they would just rather sometimes just have 3 forwards out there if Mikael Granlund's out there because they know Granlund is just going to be able to play that full 2-way game. And this is one of the things when the Sharks acquired Mikael Granlund I was down on him defensively, especially compared to Logan Couture, and like watching him night in and night out, that is like a big my bad. I was wrong on him and the way he plays defense and helps. And like I don't even think Mikael Granlund had a great game tonight. But when the Sharks need him the most, like him and Celebrini, like those 2 guys are there to compete and drag this team to win games that they probably have no business being in. So that's why I'm still in the just if Granlund wants to stay, like I am more than happy to keep Granlund around because I think his game is going to continue to kind of age well, just kind of the style of game he plays. And as the Sharks young talent gets better and kind of surpasses Granlund is still going to be a really solid middle 6 type of player for the Sharks. I'm 100% on the just re-sign Granlund because he's too valuable for you. And I think having young players like that, having young players have a guy like Granlund to learn around, you see the value, like what he's done for Zetterlund and for Eklund. And then Celebrini, if Celebrini can learn from a guy like Granlund and just take Celebrini's skill and talent, but the way Granlund plays and you mush those together, Yeah, I think that Granlund's a perfect guy to have around. So, yeah. Again, you got to start games on time. Anyway, we're going to dig into the numbers behind this game to end this here. So make sure you stick around. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So you get the hunch in the middle of a game, check the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, let's finish up by looking at the numbers of this game, and they are very sleepy, especially the second period. We had 53 minutes of 5v5 time, all the penalties in the first period, and then miraculously, no team made a mistake. I'm joking. So 53 minutes, we had 51 to 45 shot attempts in favor of the Blues. Actual shots was 30 to 18 in favor of the Blues. Scoring chances for 26 to 20 in favor of the Blues. 8 to 2 high danger chances, which is a little concerning for the Sharks, especially because they're very much, quality right now. Try to quality over quantity type of team. 1.86 to 1.14 expected goals for, again, in favor of the Blues. The Sharks, like I said, their periods were 11 shot attempts in the first period at 5-on-5, 9 shot attempts in the second period, and 20 minutes at 5-on-5, 25 shot attempts in the third period at 5-on-5. So you had more shot attempts in the third period than you did the first two periods combined at 5-on-5. And that's where you have to, we love the never say die Goonies attitude by the Sharks, but you can't keep putting yourself in this situation here. So, even the expected goals for, same thing, 0.28, 0.13, 0.73 expected goals for the Sharks at 5-on-5. So, looking at the forward, so we didn't have Will Smith tonight, who, of course, development day, like with these back-to-backs, like he's gonna get one or the other. With Mikael Granlund also being healthy enough to play, right? It felt very much like Will Smith was going to get kind of sit tonight, which, again, we're gonna keep believing in the long-term growth and what that's going to mean for the Sharks. And I think you are seeing Will Smith play better and better every game. So I'm going to keep sticking with this plan of giving him some game, giving him the back-to-backs off, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, Eklund, Granlund, Zetterlund played 13-10, 10-10 shot attempts, 3-8 actual shots for this line, 0.15 to 0.52 expected goals for. 5 to 5 scoring chances for that line. And this line felt very kind of off, especially that second period where it was just like missed passes and just everything was just like a little bit off for this line. And I think that's one of the reasons why the Sharks weren't able to get their offense into gear until much later in the game, because this line just, right, as the line goes, the Sharks go, and this line had trouble kind of getting things going tonight. Goodrow, Celebrini, Toffoli, 12:52, 17-9 shot attempts. Very good. That's line good. 7-4 actual shots, 0.36 to 0.12 expected goals for, 9-3 scoring chances for that line. And you wonder now, do we see the Smith, Celebrini, Toffoli line next game? Right? Especially if, like, we have the line. Let's see the Smith, Celebrini, Toffoli line. Would love to see that line. And just give me two, like, kick-ass lines. Please. Don't tell anybody I said that word. Anyway. Clean Costin, Alex Wennberg, Luke Cunnin, 10-40 time on ice, 9-12 shot attempts, 4-7 actual shots for that line. Expected goals for 0.09 to 0.54. So and it's like Costin, I think, had some really good, like I think the past two games we've seen Costin kind of be a little bit more engaged, have some opportunities with him, but this line just tonight didn't really do much. And that's where I see why, like, if you're going to have maybe the Smith Celebrini line and then maybe the Toffoli Wennberg line to give yourself three at least solid lines between the Lund line, the Celebrini line, and the Wennberg line. I can see why Ryan Warsofsky does that, especially if you're not getting basically anything out of your bottom six, right? And then we had Giovanni Smith, Ty Dellinger, Carl Grundstrom, 5-16, 2 to 4 shot attempts, 0 to 3 actual shots, 0 expected goals, 4 to 0.05. So that was basically a wash when they were out there with anybody. So looking at the defense pairs, so we had Ruda Thompson. I asked yesterday if we might see Henry Thren sit a game and Jack Thompson come in. We did that pairing. 50 at 5-on-5, 56.25% Corsi for 9-7 shot attempts. The Wallman CC 42.86, 12-16 shot attempts, and then for our Liljegren 8-14 shot at 36.336 to Corsi for. Kind of looking at the expected goals, like all of those line like pairings really didn't do too much. And again, the offense in this game was very like stuck in the mud type of for this game. So Askarov's numbers tonight pretty solid in all situations. Again, 29 saves on 31 shots, 2 goals against, expected goals against 2.23, 935 save percentage, 3 high danger saves on 5 high danger shots. Again, the first goal could have easily been prevented if he just passes it to literally anywhere else. 11-11 mid-danger saves on 11 mid-danger shots, and then 11 for 11 low danger. So overall, if the Sharks offense can get into gear earlier, I think we're talking about a Sharks win, especially the way the Blues were kind of playing this game. And you know, the Lund line taking a little bit to get going, especially on the second night of a back-to-back. You kind of get that maybe. But, you know, the Sharks, they got to continue to try to find offense from elsewhere and sustained offense from elsewhere. So overall, though, you know, I think, again, stealing a point, this road trip, right, you close to the Stars, you get a point out of against the Blues, and you're gonna be going home. And on Saturday, you're gonna have a big game against the Sabres, and that the tank is gonna be absolutely insane. I fully expect, and the Sabres have not played very well this year. I really do think the Sharks win on Saturday. You have to win on Joe Thornton jersey retirement night. So we'll be back Saturday night. We're gonna do a podcast Saturday night after the game because I'm sure we're gonna talk about the game. We're gonna talk about this Joe Thornton jersey retirement. So plenty of great stuff. Make sure you guys are following wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can watch on YouTube as well. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and at Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until Saturday night, friends. Bye, friends.